Welcome to my Slayer Olaf guide. This is one of the most flexible comps in the game, as it can use so many different synergies and secondary carries, and we're covering all of that in this video, starting off with the build, what items you make, how to play the early, mid, and late game, and then we finish off going over positioning. The build is very flexible, and you can go into a lot of different directions depending on what chosens you find. The three core units you need are Olaf, Pike, and Tryndamere. You can take out Pike or Tryndamere for Samira, but you're not going to reliably 2-star her every game, and you need 2 Sharpshooter for her to be a carry as well. The only synergy you need is 3 Slayers. The other synergies depends on the lobby and what you hit, but I often find myself ending up with this board at level 8. Here we're running 3 Slayers and Dragon Souls, and a Vanguard frontline. Olaf is the main carry, and Samira is our secondary carry. Another level 8 variant that doesn't require any chosens is this. Here we take out Dragon Soul, and instead we get Mystics and Cultists in. If you get a Slayer chosen, you can go for a 6 Slayer variant. If you get a Dragon Soul chosen, you can go for 6 Dragon Souls. And if you get a Vanguard chosen, you can go for 4 Vanguards. As you can tell, there are a lot of different units and synergies with the different builds, so if you are a newer player and this is a bit too overwhelming, just stick to one of the variations until you get more comfortable with the whole comp. Like I mentioned earlier, the only synergy Olaf needs is 3 Slayer. Other good synergies for him are a Vanguard frontline, Dragon Soul for more attack speed, and also to become a magic damage threat. Siphoners are good if you only have 3 Slayers in, Mystics are good so that he doesn't get bursted down by mages, and 3 Cultists is not something you're actively looking to fit in, but it more so comes naturally into the comp since Aatrox and Pike are almost in every single variation. The good chosens for this comp are Mystic Shen or Zillion, Vanguard Braum Sejuani or Aatrox, Dragon Soul Olaf Swain Aesol or Shyvana, Slayer Olaf Tryndamere or Samira. At level 9, you add in another unit to round out your comp or to counter the enemy teams, but more on that in the late game part of the video. Olaf is our primary carry for this comp, so we prioritize making items for him first. He has no core items, but the best one on him is Runan's Hurricane. This item is really important as he can still take out units if he gets stuck on a really big tank. The second item for Olaf wants to be another damage item. The best one is Deathblade as it synergizes very well with Hurricane, and with his cleave he's hitting multiple people, so he will often get a stack whenever an enemy unit dies. If you can't make Deathblade, then IE, Haj, Giant Slayer, Last Whisper, or another Hurricane can also work. The third item for him wants to be a defensive item. The only 2 that are worth putting on him are RFC or GA. Both of these make sure that Olaf get to cast his ultimate before dying, which is crucial for him to work as a carry. QSS and Trapclaw are not great as he has a built-in QSS after casting his ultimate. You can also itemize Tryndamere or Samira as a secondary carry. In most of my games, they will only get 1 or 2 items, and I grab those from the stage 5 or stage 6 carousels in most cases. Some great items for them are Haj, Deathblade, IE, LW, RFC, and Hurricane. So yeah, basically the same items as Olaf, which is a huge advantage as you can easily pivot to Tryndamere or Samira carry in case you don't hit Olaf 2-star. Throughout the game, you want to slam frontline items that don't use up components for the Olaf items. These want to go in Sejuani or Aatrox if you're running them, if not they want to go in Swain or Morgana or Braum. If you get a spatula, a good option is to make a Vanguard spat. This can often go on Olaf as it is a great defensive item for him as you're often running at least 2 Vanguards in this comp already. Another option is to make Assassin Spat if you're running Pike. This one works great on Olaf or Tryndamere. The carousel priority for this comp is Sword, Bow, Glove, then Chain. Since Olaf revolves mostly around 4 cost units, we can play any opener we want to as we're not finding those units until later in the game. And some of the better openers to have with this comp are Yasuo carry with at least 2 duelists, 2 sharpshooters with Teemo or Tristana carry. Frontline can be anything, whether it be brawlers, vanguards, keepers, or divine. Zed carry with any frontline. Once you've found your comp, we need to make items. As a general rule, you want to make an item if you have 4 or more components. And some items that are good early game that transition well into Olaf late game are Bramblevest, Chalice, GA, Haj, Locket, Sunfire, and Thieves' Gloves. RFC, Deathblade, and Hurricane are okay to slam as well, but the problem is that they aren't very flexible, so you're somewhat hard committed to Olaf before even finding him. Your early game strategy will depend a lot on how good your opener and items are. Some games you play for a loss streak, and in some games you play for a win streak. If you want to learn more about how to play the early game, check out my guide where I go in depth on the subject. At the Krugs round, you should have more direction towards a comp. The general requirements to play Olaf is to have at least one component for Hurricane and at least one component for Deathblade or GA. The units we have don't really matter as we are transitioning into Olaf later. During the mid game, you always hold Olaf and Tryndamere, and you want to hold the other units as well if you don't lose eco for holding them. If you're weak in the mid game, typically around 70 to 60 HP and or loss streaking, leveling up to 6 and rolling to stabilize is fine. We do this here to make sure that we have enough HP to go level 8 later in the game. The amount of gold you roll down will depend a lot on how strong you are compared to the lobby, but try not to go below 20 to 30 gold. Some good mid game boards to stabilize with at level 6 are Callista carry with cultists and duelists, Sivir with sharpshooters and or cultists, Kindred carry with any frontline, Shyvana carry with brawlers or dragonsouls. During the mid game, you want to scout the other players and look at their items, units, synergies, and what comp they're going. This is so that we can optimize our late game build. If there are a lot of comps with vulnerable backline carries like Neeko or Kayle, then Aatrox Sejuani frontline will be stronger, and if there are a lot of people with Sunfire or Morello, then 2 Siphoner with Swain Morgana will be weaker. Olaf carry can support 2 to 3 players at max, so if you see more than that going for it, consider pivoting to another comp like Sharpshooter Sivir, or pivoting to Kayle can sometimes work. On floor 1, you want to be level 7. From here, you need to decide whether you will be rerolling to upgrade your board, or if you're going to save the gold and go for level 8. Going level 8 is definitely preferred with this comp, so I always want to do that if possible. To do this, you generally need to be around 70 to 80 HP or higher and or be win streaking. You also need enough gold to actually hit your comp on floor 5. If you make a bad call and decide to fast 8 when you're too weak, you might end up taking 30 to 50 damage over the next 3 turns, and this will limit your options later substantially. So always make sure to scout before you decide on rolling down or going 8. If you decide to roll at 7, the amount of gold you roll through will depend on how strong you are and how strong the rest of the lobby is. Sometimes if you're weak, you might have to all in and hope to find your comp, but try not to roll below 10 gold as you still need the money to go level 8 on 5-1. Sometimes if you're strong but not strong enough to fast 8, then you will just roll through 10 to 20 gold and just look for a couple more 2 stars and a new chosen. Also note that you can stabilize with Tryndamere and put items on him instead, or stabilize with a 2-star 3-cost carry like Sivir, Shyvana, or Callista. The point I'm making is that you don't have to find Olaf right away. Since there are so many synergies you can tech in with Olaf, let's go over when you pursue each one. 3 dragonsoul is good if there's a lot of vanguards in the lobby, and you need a magic damage threat. It also serves as great burst damage. 6 dragonsoul is also great, but I would only go for it if I have a dragonsoul chosen and or a spatula for it. 6 Slayer is good if you have it chosen and you have a good secondary carry with Tryndamere or Samira. 2 Vanguard with Aatrox Sejuani is great to counter backline carries without QSS like Sivir, Kayle, and Neeko. 2 Siphoner is also good if there's no anti-healing in the lobby and you can put in Swain and Morgana. 2 Mystics is generally good versus magic damage threats like other Dragonsoul players and Kayle. You're also more inclined to put in 2 Mystic if you've found Zilean, as his ult is really valuable for Slayers. In addition, it's very easy to fit in 3 Cultists with Pyke, Aatrox, and Zilean. If you did not hit Olaf after your rolldown, you can very easily transition into a Tryndamere or Samira carry. With Tryndamere, you just need 3 Slayers and 2 Duelists. 3 Warlord is not that valuable for him. And if you're running Samira, all you need is 3 Slayers and 2 Sharpshooters. Once we have gone level 8, we need to decide whether or not we can go level 9 this game. That will generally require you to have everything except your legendaries 2-starred. But in some cases when you have a lot of HP and money, you can push level 9 while still missing some upgrades. At level 9, you will either add in another unit to round out your comp, or you will put in a unit to counter the other players. If you want to learn more about how to adapt your board late game, check out my guide where I go in depth on the subject. The last option is to roll for Olaf or Tryndamere 3-star. This will generally require you to have at least 5 of the respective unit after your first roll down, and you will also need enough HP to hit it, so definitely make sure you're at least 50 HP or higher when doing this. First, I'll go over general positioning with this comp, then I will go over some in-depth examples. General positioning looks like this. Here I am assuming that Olaf does not have RFC. Tryndamere is on the outskirts so that when he ults, he spins to the most people possible. He's also taking a bit more damage, therefore ulting a bit quicker. Sejuani is on second hex from the outside so that she stuns the backline carries. Aatrox is next to her so that the units he pulls in get CC'd by Sejuani. Olaf is between two units in the middle so he doesn't take too much damage before ulting, although you generally want him to be on the same side as the enemy carries. Morgana is on the front line so she ults faster. Pyke is on the opposite side so he ults in our team and gets the most valuable stun. Janna and Zilean are in the backline to stay safe. Now moving on to some in-depth examples. Against the first guy, the big threat is Shyvana. Here, Sejuani is far left side to stun Shyvana, and most of the other units. Aatrox is next to her to take damage from the second bolt. Olaf is closer to Shyvana, but not close enough to take aggro from her. Morgana is getting hit by Set to keep Olaf safe. Tryndamere is on the other side to get a better ultimate angle. Pyke is on the other side of our team to get the best stun possible. Janna is getting pulled by Blitzhook, and Zilean is in the backline to stay safe. Against the second guy, the big threats are Tryndamere and Morgana. Olaf is in the middle to target Morgana. Tryndamere is on far right side so that the enemy Tryndamere spins to him. Aatrox and Sejuani are dealing with Irelia to make sure Olaf doesn't get disarmed before he ults. Morgana is on the left side to hopefully take aggro from Tryndamere. Against the third guy, the big threat is Katarina. Morgana is getting Zephyred. Olaf is on the left side to not get hit by the Katarina ult. Sejuani and Aatrox are in the middle to CC as many units as possible. Tryndamere is on the right side to get as much value out of his spin as possible. Janna is a bit closer to the middle to make sure Katarina ults away from our frontline. Against the fourth guy, the big threat is Aesol. Pyke is getting Zephyred. Sejuani is on far right side to stun both Saya and Aesol. Olaf is next to her to be as close to the enemy carries as possible. Same logic with Tryndamere. And here, Janna is being Aesol bait. Thank you so much for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what video you want me to make next. And if you want to get better at TFT, join the Discord. We got over 1,000 other players there who are hungry to climb. And if you want to get coached by me, the information is over on the Discord server as well. So take care and see you in the next video.